Craig here from Eagle Eye. Today, the sign word of the day, well, it's not really a sign word, but we're going to profile the letter S, as in solar. I've promised you guys a video. I told you I would do a more in-depth video about our solar system, and now that we have it under our belt for the last couple months, I'd love to dig in and tell you about it. So let's go. Okay, so as some of you know that have been by my office, we put a solar system in, or if you've paid attention to some of the videos I've done in the past. We put a solar system in our office, and it's right behind me. And I wanted to just explain in more or greater detail what we did. Now, let me start off by saying this was something that's been in the planning for almost 2 years, maybe a little bit more. Now, the first thing that you do is you don't just wake up one morning and go, I want to put solar on my roof and have free electricity. Doesn't work that way. So, first of all, I have a great electrician that has guided and directed me and helped me get into this direction. And the first thing we did was we had to get the inefficiencies out of the office regarding our electricity. So the way we started that with first thing is, well, I have a crap ton of lights in this building. I have the good old fluorescent 4-bulb pan ceiling tile light that's here. It takes 4 bulbs, and I'm sure back in the 70s and 80s, that was in the 90s, that was the most efficient lighting system. However, with today's technology, LED bulbs is the way to go. So I started doing just a bulb replacement in my lights. I took 4 out, put 2 LEDs in, the brightness was just the same. However, my electrician came in, we were talking one day, and well, we discussed about how to make it more efficient, and he was very knowledgeable for me. First of all, he said, Craig, doing a bulb replacement, you're certainly moving in the right direction. You're probably 75% efficient over the old compared fluorescent bulbs with the two transformers in there and the older system. So he said, let me show you a more efficient way. So what we did was he took one light and he wired it for me, and he showed me how to wire the tombstones, or the ends that you plug the bulb in, and how to take the 2 transformers or ballasts that are inside your fluorescent light out of that can. Because if you're still running the electricity through the ballast but using an LED bulb, you're still running electricity through that ballast, which is the inefficient part of the fluorescent light. So he showed me how to wire those, and then I put in 2 LED bulbs in each side. Now, he said, now your light went from 75% efficient by just doing bulbs to taking those ballasts out and wiring in the LED lights directly to 98% efficient. Now, you count up how many lights I did in here, and I immediately started seeing savings on our electric bill with that. I highly encourage LED lights. You got bulbs. It doesn't matter if you rent your building or you own your building. You're going to replace the bulbs anyway. Might as well put something efficient in there and cut your electric bill. With just that, we cut our electric bill a lot. The next step, our next most inefficient item we had on our office was that we have a total of 4 air conditioning units on the roof. 2 were well over 15, 20 years old. So, as some of you know, I recently re-signed my lease. We're staying here in this office for another 5 years. And as part of the negotiation with the landlord, I got them to replace, or actually I replaced the 2 AC units on the roof that were the oldest, and the landlord didn't raise my rent. And I got to replace those 2 units, which now created even more a better efficiency with our electricity. Along with that, I did smart thermostats in our office. So as you can see, just getting to solar is a step. There's lots of steps in the process, but that helped us become more efficient with our day-to-day use. Of course, a lot of our equipment, our printers, they're all newer. and they don't use as much energy as some of older printers and older technology, so that certainly helped. Okay, now down to the solar. I bought solar panels, and I will tell you which ones. They're SunPower 305 watt solar panels. They are used. They were about 2 or 3 years old. They came out of a solar farm. I went with those because not only did they have the solar panel, but they also had a built-in rack. So I know some of you are already asking, give me just a second, I'll tell you if I get to keep the solar or not. So I went with these SunPowers because they're already built in a rack system. So I didn't need to drill and penetrate the roof here at my office because I don't own this office, I rent this office. But me putting that up on the roof is no different than me putting some shelves in my office that I'm going to take with me. So there you go. I have a solar system that I get to take with me. I own it. The landlord does not own this solar system. So that's one benefit. Second thing, I went with the SunPower 305 because it was already built into a ballast system, so I didn't need to drill and make all these racks and put all this weight, extra weight up on the roof. And let me mention, before I did all of that, and before I did put the weight on the roof for the solar panels, I did have an engineer report done on my roof. So I have plenty. I did not even get close to touching the weight that this roof can handle. Okay, so how many solar panels did I put on the roof? Well, I put 144 solar panels on my roof, and I have room for another 140, 200 panels. So I have room for growth. Now, why did I go with 144 panels? Well, it's just the way it works out in the way some of the controllers, and I won't go into too much in depth, but you got to put 4 solar panels on every controller or shutdown unit that's required by the city. So the inverters here, Solar 1 array has 40 panels, Solar 2 array has 40 panels, Solar 3 and Solar 4 have 32 panels each on each array, because those are 10,000 kilowatt inverters. So I have a total of 40,000 kilowatts here if I need it. Now, the solar panels at the peak is going to make about 44,000 kilowatts. So my understanding, the way I was told and taught through this process, is that you put more solar panels on the roof than the inverters can handle because there's degradation. Some solar panels don't put out all their peak all the time, so you never really ever hit that whole number. So, but along with putting these inverters in, 144 panels on the roof, what else? We had to get some extra electrical done. So the big box that you see there is my main. I have 400 amps of power coming into this facility. The other box was a sub that I put in some time ago when I first moved in because I needed extra outlets for our printing equipment. And this box that you see back here is the box that controls all the solar panels. Power comes in from there, into the inverters, and into there, and back out to our meter. We did a grid tie-in system. So let me explain that a little bit. A grid tie-in system is I'm still dependent on electricity from the grid. I buy my power just like everybody else does, but I'm just not buying as much power. Now, I mentioned in one of the videos, we know it's working. I mentioned in one of the videos one of the funny things that happened to us. When we first flipped the switch, about a week after we flipped the switch, Encore came out and said that they had received a trouble code at their command center and they were here to investigate our meter. And I was talking to them and I said, what seems to be the trouble code, or what's the problem? And they go, well, your meter is running too fast. Backwards. Yes, I said backwards. So we know the system works. Now, how well is it working? Well, we've got a couple months of electricity usage and what we're selling and everything back and forth to the grid. And we are selling back to the grid. We have the ability, we've done our agreements, we have all of that in place. So, and we are selling back to the grid for more than we buy. So that's kind of a neat thing. But our first month's electric bill, April, 0. May, 0. June, it was $320. What has been our average electric bill? I'm 8,500 square feet in this office, 4 AC units, all the equipment that you've seen in my various videos running, and I've added some new equipment. Our electric bill runs about $1,500 a month. So, have we got savings? Yes. It started first, though, with getting the inefficiencies out here. Let me emphasize that. Okay, so as I mentioned, we're selling back to the grid. We're a grid tie-in. We're not off the grid. We're not some prepper over here. We just thought it would be very cool to kind of drop electric bill. And we kind of figured 3 months out of the year, June, July, August, our hottest months in Texas, we would be buying from the grid because we're cranking out tons of AC here. We also figured that the other 9 months out of the year, we should be net zero on our electric bill and or selling back to the grid. Are we going to get rich off of this? No, we're not getting rich off of this. There are benefits of having solar, and of course you'll need to talk to your CPA and check into everything. But we did get some federal tax credits for both the year we bought the panels and for the year that we installed everything. So we do get to get some nice tax credits on that. We also we saved money by doing some work ourselves. We also saved money by buying used panels versus new panels. There's some pluses and negatives to those. I highly recommend do lots of research. There's lots of great information out there. So the ultimate question, I'll give you some round numbers. How much did it cost? Okay, my solar system installed with everything, including the electrical work that's behind me. And by the way, that red plywood, that's a special plywood here. It's fire retardant. So there's a lot of special little things that you have to watch out for that can kind of add the cost up really quick. But panels, wiring, installed, lift, crane to get those up on the roof, electrical work here. They were here for probably about a week doing this. Getting everything set up, getting it all put in, inverters, everything. We're somewhere in the neighborhood of about $26,000 to $28,000. Sounds like a lot. And it is a lot of money. But let me also mention to you, I've cut out a $1,500 electric bill a month. Divide that into that 26, 28,000. My payback is about 16 to 18 months. You know what? I've actually allowed 24 months to be my payback. Not bad, because I have a 5-year lease here. So I will have all of the system paid back in 2 years and be making money in that sense now, or posting some revenue. Now, another thing, as I mentioned earlier, there's a ton of tax credits out there. I've only applied for my federal. I haven't even got my state, local, and city ones yet. So the system itself will pay for itself pretty quick. Is it highly recommended that you do it? You know, I thought it would be neat. I want to get our footprint off of the grid for a little bit. As a lot of people know, we had a horrible winter, snowmageddon, power being shut off, all kinds of things. And one question that I have not been able to get answered, and I'm going to end the video with this question, and if anybody has some feedback on it, please let me know. The question I've always had, and no one has been able to answer, is if the electric company can pinpoint, as they did me and saw that my meter was running too fast backwards, or can pinpoint when you don't pay your bill to shut your electric off, can they pinpoint me to know that I am an official power provider in the state of Texas? And if Snowmageddon was to happen again, would they keep my electricity on and keep me tied into the grid because I'm helping produce power? I don't know that answer, and I have not got that answer. Well, there you go. There's a pretty in-depth video. I could probably talk hours about solar, but this gives you an idea of what we did, what we're doing, some cost savings here at the office. I thought it was a really neat, get us a little green. We try to recycle things. We try to do what we can, because I think the small steps that we all can take will lead to a bigger benefit for the world and for the planet. Well, there you go. As always, thank you for following along. Follow us, eagleeyesigns.net. give us a click, give us a like, subscribe. We really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's something different, something neat about our company that we kind of do, and I hope you enjoyed it. And as always, thank you for your support.